Hi everyone, we are back again with another inspirational story for you guys. A journey from which you can take lessons, have your pointers that you can actually implement in your preparation journey. Whether you are preparing for IPM program, whether you are preparing for the BMS program of IIM Kozhikode, it's all out there in their journey in people like Sehaj. We have Sehaj today with us who has converted IIM Kozhikode as well as IIM Jammu and IIM both Kia. So she'll be joining IIM Kozhikode in the next month, I believe. Next month, the classes will be getting started. And yeah, I welcome you, Sehaj, to the session. I hope these people out there will be able to get to know a lot and learn a lot. Basically, get motivated through your story. And many congratulations to you as well because you are going to be a part of the first ever batch that IIM Kozhikode is going to have for their BMS program, basically in the UG space. So it's going to be a pioneer kind of thing where you will be the first batch, you will be leading the entire upcoming batches to be that will be a part of IIM Kozhikode as an institute. So I hope that I believe there is a lot of responsibility on your shoulders as the first batch. So how's the feeling?
Uh, I'm excited. I mean, it's not something you've heard of in India. This kind of program is very unique, very multidisciplinary, and at the same time, it's kind of different from IPMAT, which is what I was originally preparing for, and then I moved into preparing for the BMS exam.
Okay, so again, you as you said, you were initially preparing for IPMAT, then you switched to BMS. What was that? One factor if you have to consider in terms of that led to this particular outcome as well. So, what was that one factor that made you decide? Okay, I'll be focusing much more on BMS rather than IPMAT, or all of them had your equal, importance. Was that the scenario?
I prepared for IPMAT, and BMS was kind of just like a subcategory. So the preparation that I did for IPMAT helped me with the BMS prep. I didn't do anything specifically for BMS.
Okay, okay. Since the program is very new, how did it kind of influence your preparation journey? Because a lot of time when we prepare for IPMAT, whether we prepare for GIPMAT as well, we have some kind of reference point. Okay, I can look back at the previous year question papers as well. I can learn from the reactions of the student who appeared for last year's paper, right? And I can know basically. I can have my insights from those things, the analysis and everything. I can have my insights and I can prepare accordingly, adjust accordingly. My preparation journey, or let's just say preparation as well. But when it comes to IIM Kozhikode, since it's the first thing ever that is happening from the institute's end, so how did you prepare? And even when we talk about the examination pattern, we had quite a lot of confusions around that as well. So we'll come back to that. But overall, when it's the very first thing, the first experience, सबसे पहली बार कुछ हो रहा हो and you do not have any kind of reference point, how did you go about it?
I was kind of happy that there were no past year question papers because I didn't want to do the extra preparation towards the end. So I'm like, okay, so it's an even ground because no one else can also prepare now. And so the IPMAT questions that I did, I gave the practice exams for IPMAT and GIPMAT. The GIPMAT ones helped me the most with the BMS one because it was very arithmetic focused. It wasn't high math focused, which honestly was good for me because I prepared arithmetically more. And so I lucked out in that sense because if higher maths was asked more, I don't think I could have done that well in it.
Okay.
So
When we're talking about arithmetic itself, we had this, notification or information was published from institutes that arithmetic will not be a part of the examination.
I
And
was really
that,
sad.
yeah, that was the
But
scenario for us.
it
Yeah.
was the last exam, so I didn't have any energy to prepare any extra or anything. So I'm like, what I know, I'll go and give that
So
because
this was, I believe, the scenario for other students as well. They were kind of scared because arithmetic was something a lot of people have their most focus on. But I
yeah.
believe eventually they kind of incorporated arithmetic in their sample question papers, and from there we got a hint that okay, the examination might also consist of arithmetic, and that was actually the scenario as well. There were a lot of questions from arithmetic, and other major components or major topics that we usually come across while preparing for these sort of examinations, right? So, okay, when we talk about the examination structure, we had quant and we had verbal ability. You said GIPMAT was something that helped you a lot while preparing for GIPMAT, or the sort of questions that we see in GIPMAT, it helped you a lot. While the structure was very much similar to your IPMAT Indore examination, right? You have two sections dedicated to English and quant, basically. That is what is being asked. So, whether the mindset helped you or it was just the GIPMAT question paper, the level of difficulty that you kind of observed in GIPMAT, was that thing that helped
It
you
was,
basically?
yeah, it was the second thing. It was the questions that I did. It wasn't the mindset. So I didn't prepare for English, honestly. I prepared only for quants because I had 1 month left. And I figured English, I can still try to do something based on gut feeling. But for maths, if you do that, you'll get negative marks. So,
Yeah. So you just mentioned yourself that you prepared you just had 1 month. Okay, a lot of
yeah.
students do have this concern कि क्या हम एक महीने में prepare कर सकते हैं, लास्ट के कुछ महीनों में prepare कर सकते हैं. What will be your take on it? And also just walk us through your journey as well, how it looked like. Um, I know you were a part of college as well, right? So how did you balance that thing with this preparation as well, or even whenever you decided to get started with this journey as well, how did you overall managed everything?
So I started preparing around 20th of March, and I was at my BTech college at the time. So my college used to get over at around 4. Then I went to like a cafe or something, studied there for 4 hours, and then came home. So I didn't balance it. I totally left my college in the self-study sense. Like I didn't prepare for what was going on in my actual college because it was just 1 month, right? So I couldn't afford to do both things at the same time. So that was definitely a risk I took because with 1 month of prep, if I failed this also, then my college would have also been, and your
In
GPA is
another
really,
situation. Yeah.
yeah. So that was definitely a risk I took. But after GIPMAT, I kind of left my college because I'm like, okay, GIPMAT went really well. So I think I'll at least convert this. So then I left college.
Okay, okay. So I believe this is a message for everyone right here that things are not impossible, but you have to be very strategic about it, right? How you're preparing, like just you said, you focus much more on quants because verbal was something that you were quite decent at, right? So you focus much on quant. Now it depends. It depends from student to student. What is their, what are their strengths and what are their weaknesses, and accordingly you have to adapt. Also, as Sehaj also stated that she kind of have to let go of the college things and just focus on the IPMA or like the entrance exam preparation. So it's a message or it's a learning from everyone out there. If you have time enough, just get started. Whenever you're deciding, whenever it's come to your mind that okay, I want to appear for these examinations, just get started. Do not wait for the last moment, right? Okay, for Sehaj it was a different case. She kind of decided a little, when the time was approaching, when the entrance exams were approaching, at that moment she decided. But for other people who have already wondering whether we should start or not, get started. You will have
Yeah.
ample amount of time to balance everything.
Even when it was December, I was told by people that there's no point in preparing now. So definitely don't listen to that because it's not like that
We need
impossibly
much
hard.
better.
Yeah, and I just the 1 month I used to just watch the recordings of Praveen sir, and he used to. So it used to be like 2 hours worth of recordings for per chapter. It could range from 2 to 10 hours, but I watched it at 2x speed, and like I finished one chapter a day. So I used to watch the recording, and then I used to solve the career launcher module questions.
Okay, okay. So beyond that, when we talk about you went through the videos and everything. Since it was kind of quite, you were basically on a time crunch. Now, how did you took mocks and everything? Because again, specifically for BMS, there weren't mocks as such. There was just the practice questions that can be helpful. How did you take your learnings from the other mocks, or even for other mocks as well? What were your strategy?
So I used to give I gave many mocks. Firstly, I didn't a lot of the times people feel like they need to save the mocks for the end or something, but I would say keep giving them as you go along. And so I used to give the mocks, and then the analysis for the mock, I used to like really go through what was my weak point, what was my strong point, and then depending on the weak points I used to prepare. And then sometimes I used to see that there was a straight jump of 50 marks from one mock to the other. So, and sometimes it was stagnant. So, definitely don't think that the mocks are your final exams. They're more or less just, you're preparing right now. You can't determine the final result based on that.
Definitely, definitely. That's a great point that you just mentioned or that you stated. So if I have to say two, three key takeaways from your entire prep journey, this is even if it's short, what will be two, three key takeaways that the people we are interacting with or right now we are having the session for, what is something that they must be keeping in their mind while preparing for such entrance examinations? And we'll come back to the interview prep as well. How did you prepare for it? But through from your end preparation journey, what would be those key takeaways that will be helpful for our audience?
Uh, I would say don't focus on the end result right now. Like just focus on what you're preparing and like give it your all. Don't be like, okay, अब बहुत कम time है, so I can't do anything anyway, so let's leave it. Don't leave it. Definitely take it to the end. Then I would say give a lot of mocks. Just anytime that you get, give mocks. So you will feel demotivated to begin with. Even I did, because initially I didn't know anything before I watched the videos. You gave me a basic question, I wouldn't be able to solve it. So initially the mocks, definitely I was like, should I even prepare for this exam? But then I'm like, never mind, let's just do it, because I wasn't enjoying my time at the BTech college. So I'm like, I need to find some alternative, and this was definitely something that stood out. And do it every day. Like don't skip days. Like every day, even if you give only a few hours, give that. Like be consistent basically. And I mean, I motivational songs and quotes and stuff, Pinterest really helped me. So whatever works for you works. And uh, I didn't really even tell my mom when I was preparing. So it was a very, like, keep it low. You don't have to tell everyone that, oh, I'm preparing for this exam, I'm doing this. No, just do your own thing. And, if you get to tell people, but otherwise just keep it low, And that makes you feel more like it's your secret. So you're just like more focused towards it, more devoted towards it.
Got it, got it. Okay. So, Sahaj, as you stated that even in the beginning, you weren't able to solve the basic question. If someone would have given you a basic question from the mathematic part or the quant part, you won't be able to solve it. So, how did it look like? What all sort of actions did you took from your end so that you can, you know, uh, get through that particular situation? We can not only just solve the basic question, but you can also actually attempt the real questions that were there in the examination. So how did it look like? What are actions you took from your end?
As I said, I watched the recordings, so that really helped with the basics. But I also know that if I just went based on the recordings, again, I wouldn't be able to solve the questions. So I would say the most important thing is solving the questions. So I solved it from the module, the Career Launcher one, and that's all I did. I didn't do any other books or anything. So I used to do all the questions, all the practice questions, the exercises, and everything. I didn't do the short answer type, but except that I did all of those questions
Okay.
and
So was
mocks.
there any specific, a thing that you do for being able to learn or grasp the concepts as fast as possible because you had time, like less time in order to prepare? So when it comes to covering a lot of topics, what was the strategy? You covered the entire syllabus, or you stick to few specific topics? And even when we talk about those topics, let's say we pick out arithmetic itself. Uh, how did you go about it? The basic concepts, as I said, you took help from the videos as well. But beyond that, when it comes to practicing the basic questions, then the module test, this was your strategy overall?
Um, I didn't give the module test I didn't give the chapter wise test. I just gave the full portion test, and I finished all the portions for GIPMAT and IPMAT Rohtak. For Indore, I didn't. So I would say I would say a month is, if you only have a month left, that is, then it's enough. If you have more, then start preparing. Um,
Okay.
but I watched the recordings at 2x because, again, I had a time crunch and I made notes like really quickly. I didn't pause the video or anything because I didn't have the time. And practice questions, I did all of them. Like at times I wondered, should I skip some because I have such less time left? But I didn't because I understood that every question was helping me gain more conceptual knowledge. So
And on a daily basis, what was the average time that you took out from your daily schedule and dedicated it towards this preparation?
So at that time, I was still going to college, the engineering college. So I would say 3.5 to 4 hours a day.
On a daily basis. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So the next part that we talk about this entire journey will be your interview rounds, right? As usual, like any other institute, the IIM Kozhikode also had their own interview rounds. So how did you prepare about it? What all things again after the shortlist? How much time you had, and then how did you prepare? How did you go about your interview preparation as well? Some tips over there, if for because a lot of students do not take up the interview preparation in the initial days and they sit for that preparation towards the end itself. So what can they do when it comes to the interview preparation?
So this was the very last exam, and this was the last interview of the last exam. So by that time, I really was so done. So I'm like, okay, I'll just go and give it, and like, hopefully it'll work out. And luckily it did. But I would say, for me, they didn't ask any general knowledge or current affair questions. They asked me, so the essay that I wrote, they make you write an essay. They asked me all questions related to that. So definitely know what you're writing about in your essay, and make sure it's a diversified essay. Like make sure you have stuff from like creative side, from sports side. So you need certificates and all of that. So do stuff for that, arrange the certificates, and they ask you questions related to the essay. Like I heard in Delhi, they asked questions related to GK, current affairs, and the interview went on for like 20 minutes. But mine was for like 10 minutes, I would say, and there was no current affairs. So I lucked out because that was definitely a weaker side for me. And so essay, I would say, and like be confident. Like even if you don't know something, be confident. Like sit straight, wear like formals and stuff, don't show up in anything, and smile a lot, and just like use hand gestures and just be very confident. Don't show that you're nervous at all, because I could sense that that's what they were trying to see from me. Will I get nervous or not? Because one of the interviewers was just really like looking at me like that, and but I made eye contact. Like even though it was scary, I still, I made eye contact with them. I made jokes, few dry jokes, but like definitely like they laughed. So I felt like okay, fine. So definitely treat it like a conversation rather than an interview.
Definitely. The only mantra that can get you through interviews is basically being confident about you, about the knowledge that you possess, and I believe taking everything in a very calm and composed manner. Even if you don't know the answer, you can be calm about it. You can relax. Like
I didn't know some
don't,
answers.
you do
Like
know
when they
some
asked,
answer.
yeah, they asked me questions. So they're like, "Are you comfortable with probability?" And then I'm like, "It's been 2 to 3 years since I've done it, but I can try." So then they asked me a question. I didn't know it. So I'm like, "I'm sorry, I don't know." They're like, "You don't know?" I'm like, "No, sorry, I'll look into it." And then they asked me another question. Thankfully, I knew that one. So I said that, and then I smiled. Like that'll fix everything.
Okay.
But
So luck is also one of the factor, but I believe the way you handle these situation also matters, because all they want to see is how well you work under pressure kind of situation. When you have such a thing, such a pressurizing situation, how you function, and that is
you have to
what.
take the
Yeah,
interview where you want it. Like you shouldn't let them control the interview. You really have to like whatever your strong point is, you have to kind of divert them into that. Like
definitely.
um yeah.
Yeah, you have your strong pointers in your mind as well, and be prepared for them, because if you are taking or leading the interview in that particular direction, in the direction of your strengths, I believe you should be well versed with the any area around that particular strength. How did you overcome it? Any actual sort of situations, basically the real action that you can showcase through your strengths as well, not just You don't have to go out there all words and everything. You need to show them, okay, this is how it actually worked. If I'm telling this is my strength, it actually happened in such a scenario, and see, I was able to do it. So
I also
showcasing rather than just telling it. Yeah.
I had a kabaddi certificate as well, and so like kabaddi and football and stuff. So they definitely asked me like the rules and stuff, and the who's the best player at the time in this field. So they asked me like, do you know? I didn't know about that in kabaddi. I didn't do my research. So they asked me, ki, kabaddi, do you know any famous players? Are you still part of any team? So I told them very clearly that no, I was not part of any team anymore because of an incident that happened 2 years back. And so be very open with your personal details as well. Like, don't be like it's an interview. Should I say this? Just if there's some personal problem or something that happened in your life that shaped how you are now, you should mention that. It's not like don't hide the personal stuff.
Being honest but being relevant at the same time is what these interviews are all about, right? Well said, Sahesh. And I believe this there must be a lot of key takeaways from this session for our students as well, who will be writing this examination next year. Whatever kind of doubts or some second thoughts that they might have in terms of their preparation, in terms of about their self-worth and everything, I believe they might have kind of dodged those doubts or dodged those second thoughts through your through your story. And I hope this session might have been very helpful to them as well, in terms of getting back on track and getting started again. If they were kind of losing that motivation as well, they might have found it again through your journey and through this particular session as well. So thank you so much for joining in with us today, and it was great to have you. I wish you all the best for this upcoming journey of yours, and you will be setting the foundation for the students that will be following for the next batch. And this is the first ever batch. You will be like being a part of the history itself, by being the part of the first ever batch. So many congratulations on that as well. Make the most out of your time over there. Be open to all sort of experiences and everything, and I hope you do great at
Thank
the
you.
institute as well.
Thank
Okay.
you.